Today on the show, I want to talk to you about some of the things that I feel WWE 2K22 did well. Let's kick things off with GM mode, My GM. 2K bringing back My GM and General Manager mode in the series, I think is a huge win for fans. It has some of its pitfalls. It's not as fleshed out as I think we want it to be. We hope that in 2K23 and beyond, they will keep it going and they will implement more and more features into it to make it more robust and more detailed. But I thoroughly do enjoy My GM mode. It is fun to be able to go in there, to go into my existing universes that I have set up and being able to do a 15-week, 25-week and just keep going and going. I like the idea that I can go in and I can select the manager. I like now that they added the tag titles. I like that we have custom rosters that we can pick from. And if you get crafty enough, you can change up all of the drafting too to suit your like and needs, so that if you want to be able to have all of the matchups correct, it takes some work, but it's still a lot of fun to be able to go in there and switch it all up. Yeah, I can't have a custom arena and a custom show like AEW in there, but I can have a full-fledged AEW roster if I feel like it, or I can match what's going on current programming in WWE, and that, to me, that's really cool. For me, it's been a standout mode. It's not the best of the best by any means, in my opinion, but if you're somebody that picked up 2K and you really haven't even tried out My GM, or you just dabbled in it a little, at least for me, give it a shot. You might be impressed. You might enjoy going back or trying it out a little bit further and seeing if it can hook you a little bit. And if not, then maybe in 2K23 we get a little bit more like mid-card titles and multi-man matches and being able to manage contracts a little bit deeper. But I think it's at least a baseline mode that's got a lot of potential. Secondly, I have listed here for things that I feel 2K did really well is going to be adding cross-platform online with community creations. One of the big things that has been lacking for so long in community creations online is that it's been restrictive to just the console and just the platform that you're playing on. Xbox players can only download stuff from Xbox. PlayStation only downloads from PlayStation. What I love this year is that they finally opened things up, and if somebody has an amazing creation that's going to be on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, I'm going to be able to pick it up on my Xbox and vice versa. This broadens the community. It broadens creations overall because there's a lot of cool stuff. I do remember from years past, from 2K19 and prior, I'd always get bummed out if I saw online on Twitter or whatever that somebody has an amazing creation they did or a really cool attire that they've added on and it's only for PlayStation. And I thought that sucked, right? Because from where I'm sitting, that limits the community, it limits the experience people have. They can't get their hands on certain things and, it's not inclusive enough. What I like here is that we have opened that up now and we can get creations across the board. And it feels like it's something that 2K will continue to do. There's no reason to take it away. And now that they've kind of opened the floodgates with it, I think it's something they're going to keep for years to come. Now, something else that I hope they keep for years to come with the franchise is going to be the in-game rendered images. 2K has done this in the past. This is not new where they have rendered images of the superstars, but it always fell flat when they did that because they'd have the rendered superstar and then you'd have your creation, your custom creation, and it didn't look right. It was the in-game versus the picture, and that sucked. What I think was a good step, almost a bold step for them, because they've had a lot of trouble with patching that thing to get it to work properly. But now that renders are working well and they're working well enough, it's a really cool added feature that I am impressed by, because there's a lot of creators out there, and even myself, I've tried doing renders, do them in Photoshop. I did a whole tutorial episode on that too, cheap plug, yeah. But a lot of custom renders are awesome. They are HD and you can get them for the specific attires that you want to match up with those superstars. If I want to get a brand new Tommaso Ciampa with the green outfit that he has on Raw, I can not only get that creation, but I can also get the matched up render image for it. And that's a really cool thing that they've added in. It keeps the game fresh, especially for alternate attires that you want to do for in-game superstars. I feel that that little thing, it does add a little bit of extra detail and keeps the game going, because too often it feels very out of date when you have these really crappy rendered images or you have just the creations showing up. It doesn't look very good. So I'm glad that they went with this approach to the renders. Since they kind of have it all figured out now, I do hope that for me, it's something that they keep going in the future for future games. Next thing I wrote down here was going to be graphics. Playing on a next-gen console for myself, I play on my Xbox Series X primarily. I do all the capture stuff on my Series S, and I notice a difference when I play on my X. I love how the game looks. I think that a lot of the character models look really good. I love a lot of the entrances. I love that with entrances now, for some, they put in the extra work and the camera work where you have a panning, moving camera that's coming in. It adds a little bit more realism to it. You are trying to go for a much more simulated experience in this game. And I think 2K did a really good job with that. When I look at Roman Reigns' entrance or Drew McIntyre, I always think that they're really good and they're kind of spot on. Rey Mysterio's looks great. And some are not perfect by any means, and some you can feel that they've done a lot more work and emphasis on than others. And then in the ring itself, I do like that close-up camera, and it's kind of given a positive impact on how the game looks and the presentation. I do like the up-close camera. I wish we could change the camera angle a little bit, but overall, I do like the aesthetics of bringing it in. I remember when everything was revealed and we saw like our first matchup, right? Where I had that match of Roman Reigns was being flown around, and I was totally taken aback by it because of how close the camera angle was and what we were used to in 2K20 and 2K19. And I like that zoomed in effect, and it's almost hard to go back now to look at the old way. But I like it because you can pick up on more animations, more of the sweat detail, the blood, and getting closer to the action, I think works better in this game. And I do think that, and I hope that 2K will use those camera angles and allow it into the next game. Sometimes I wish that they turned it the other way, like Here Comes the Pain, where you can see the entrance ramp. That would have been cool, or given us the options to toggle maybe. What do you think? But I do think that the graphics in this year's game are really good, and it has me excited for next year if the game is going to be on next gen only. It probably won't. They'll probably still want to be able to put it across all the platforms like PlayStation 4 and 5 and across all the Xbox. But I think that there's a really good chance that we see an even more updated, polished version in 2K23. The thing that I ended up liking overall, and let me know what you think, but I actually am a fan of the control system. I thought that over the years, it was just getting more and more complex, and I'm trying to think about if I was somebody newer to the franchise, and you're getting handed a controller, and the amount of combinations and different things that every single trigger, every single button did in 2K19 and 2K20 and before that, you gotta remember, to a younger or to a newer audience, a newer player, it can be a lot to try and figure every single thing out. And then relearning the control scheme in 2K22, I thought that was a lot. It was completely different. It was foreign to me, but I do like that there's a little bit more simplicity to it. I like that I've been getting better at doing combos where you're trying to do a strong combo or you're trying to do the striking combos. And I like that I can do that or set up sequences. I feel like I have a little bit more control. Not all of it is perfect, and that's very much what has happened with 2K22. Not everything is just quite right. There's still issues when you are trying to toss an opponent into the ropes and they're rebounding. Trying to get the timing down for that doesn't always work. The stun meter, I'm not really big on. But aside from that, they tried new things, and I commend them for that. Putting in the stun meter, I think, is a nice feature. I think it could use some tweaking, but I do like that I have it in there so I can pull off bigger moves. And if you go into the settings and your sliders, you can definitely go and alter how that turns out, and keeping that stun damage meter even longer if you wanted to, so that it has a little bit more realism to it. I don't like that I have the big red screen popping up. That feels too arcadey to me when you're trying to go for a simulated style of gameplay. But overall, I'm finding that I'm being able to pull off moves, doing moves that are going to be from like the apron, springboards. I think I can pull things off a little bit cleaner and better. And so when the controls were first revealed and we heard about them in those dev diaries that 2K revealed, I had my concerns and I felt like, oh, this is going to be either way too simplified or it's just not going to work for players. And for me, I'm happy with it. I think they did a good job with the controls overall. There's a lot more that we can add to the list. I just want to pull out some of the things that I enjoy from 2K22. We can talk about good things in Universe Mode and My Rise, but let me know in the comments what you think, and hit this video right here for more 2K22 news and updates. See ya!